Hello! Welcome to sunny Fort Myers, Florida, where it's hot every bloody day of the year. And nobody has a heater in their house because you don't need one. Which is pretty much the case. Not to say that some old people who always get cold certainly have a heater. After 16 hours non-stop on the road, except for gasoline, I am exhausted. But in those 16 hours, there are some important considerations on the Nikon D500 that I forgot to mention. I stated, and this has not changed, nothing's changed actually from my previous reviews, just some additions, that this will be a legendary camera for Nikon. Look in my eye, I don't gamble, but I will always bet on an absolute sure thing. And I would bet on that. I hear that they're out of stock everywhere. The camera, as I did forget to mention, is made in Thailand. A couple things that are really important that I forgot to mention about the Nikon D500. And by the way, as it happens now, I was never, as my early videos are proof, never a very strong advocate of and for the Nikon D750. It's a perfectly fine camera, but it's a rehashed version of the Nikon D610 with some improvements and some flaw reductions, but it's still the same system. Let's go off some important considerations now that I noticed. I've done 22 hours of testing and actually 9.5 or 10 hours of actual shooting with the Nikon D500. Incredible camera. I was not expecting this at all. A bunch of people, after I made 12 video reviews of the Nikon D500, they said, "Oh my God, come over and check these Rev guys. They just made a video on the D500." And the one guy there, I can't remember his name. I have no idea. He doesn't even like Nikon, and he was sitting there, you know, his eyes just as wide as saucers, and they said, "Watch it at 5 minutes and 32 seconds, I believe." And it goes on for 20 seconds, and he said this is the best camera he's reviewed in his recollection. And that is the case. What would make a legendary camera? I've owned every Nikon DSLR. What would define this as a legendary Nikon DSLR? In akin with the Nikon D3, for example, which was a game changer. That 2008 camera still sells like hotcakes. What, an old 12 megapixel sensor, Nikon D3? It's obsolete. Still sells like crazy. It's a game changer. It's a legendary camera. What defines this as a legendary camera? Now, I know exactly what you're thinking right now, and a lot of people exhibit this sort of, let's call it nonsense. It's exactly what it is. Someone doesn't have much experience with cameras or lenses. They get something new, you know, they saved up a bunch of money and they got a wow toy. Like, oh, and they're reviewing it and say, "Wow, it's the best thing since sliced bread, I love it." You know, that doesn't mean anything. I thought, Nikon came out with another DX crop sensor, their dumbed down version of the Nikon D5, which I reviewed, and people attacked me for the nasty attacks I made on the D5. And I said, this camera is not worth it. I canceled my review for the Nikon D5. They said, "Oh, you're so full of it. That camera has to be perfection. It costs a ton of money." And then all the there is not of the top 20 YouTube reviewers that reviewed the Nikon D5, there's not a single one of them that gave a strong recommendation on the D5 at all. These people never, you know, smack anything around. You can actually read between the lines that they actually didn't like the D5 either. I was expecting something similar out of the Nikon D500. Not the case. For a camera to be a legend, it has to be have a broad array of just incredible attributes, not just a few. "Oh, isn't that a super cool, neat feature?" Like the touch to autofocus and the release to take the picture, or the swipe, or the zoom. No, that's a little neat gimmicky feature. Incredibly useful, especially in previewing pictures. What makes this a legendary camera? And it will be a legend. It's a soon to become legendary camera. The attributes. One thing I forgot to mention in the 12 video reviews that I did, and I was thinking about it on the 15-hour drive down here, that makes this D500 incredible. Look, I got a pair of D810s. I'm filming on a D750. I got D7100s. One thing I was thinking of when I was using this Nikon D500, it doesn't even have an autofocus assist lamp. Even the D750 has an, oh, the D750, this signal processing, okay? Even the D750 has an autofocus assist lamp. This will autofocus in amazing situations. I was thinking on the drive down here, I want to smack myself in the head. Why didn't you mention this? Me, berating myself. And then I was thinking, when I was shooting the D500 in a bunch of situations, there were a bunch of situations, roughly 15% of my shots, where I knew, damn certain, that my Nikon D750 and my D810 would not have got the picture. Would not have got it. The moment comes and the moment vanishes. Well, that's a DX crop sensor. The D750, we all know the advantages of larger photo sites. We know the advantages of lens compression. We know the advantages of full frame cameras. Gain and time equals exposure. G and T equals exposure. Larger photo sites, you don't have to deal with the crop. That being said, a missed shot is no good. I don't care if you shot it on a full frame or you shot on a DX crop sensor. I am 1,000% certain in shooting with the Nikon D500 that 15 to 20% of my shots during that 9+ hours of shooting, and I'm going to continue to review the D500 tomorrow for some more videos that I'm doing, that they would have been 100% missed by my Nikon D750 and my Nikon D810 using the exact same lens, exact same situation. No doubts. No ifs, ands, or buts. You're not going to say, well, yes, but no. Period. P-E-R-I-O-D. Period. And I don't suffer new gear syndrome. Like, oh my God, the Nikon D500, it's got a cool gadgety feature. It does this little cool... No. You work in a few camera stores and you handle, bazillion cameras. And it's another camera. It's another camera. I was not expecting this out of the D500. It's a total shocker. This will be Nikon's legendary camera. One of. And there are very few of them. D3, D4, D700, while it has amazing output for portraiture, and tons of people have bought the D700 off my recommendation, are completely happy. It's so well made. It's made in Japan. I still have a couple Nikon D700s. It has some amazing attributes. But what makes a legendary DSLR is a wide spectrum of aligned star, where all the planets align, and then a ray of perfection lands and deposits itself. And that is what the Nikon D500 is, analogously. There's no doubt about it. And it got shots that I know my D750 and D810 would have missed. At this point in time, given, I've made a bazillion videos about crop factor and pixel pitch. At this time, even though I never, heavily endorsed the D750, I've said it's a wonderful camera to buy if you can find it cheap. I've even recommended it for, I'm filming on the D750 now. Mine is not going to go anywhere. I can't recommend the D750. For that kind of money, if you're buying a USA warranty, I know you can get a Nikon D750 gray market for $1,500, $1,600. But for a new one versus the D500, hell no. It's going to be the D500. Why? Incredible low light performance. The eyepiece, so much better to look through. But it's a DX crop sensor. Your point? 4.2 micrometer pixel pitch, high ISO performance, low light, incredible. Nikon has improved their low light autofocusing capability to the point there is no autofocus assist lamp on this Nikon D500. There isn't. And the buffer. Now you don't even need to talk about it. There's something I didn't mention in the prior 12 videos. You don't even need to talk about a damn buffer. The buffer, in actuality, is when your card is full. That's the buffer on the D500. Especially with the XQD cards. Now you don't even need to talk about a buffer anymore. Who needs to talk about a damn buffer? When your card is full, that's the buffer. Not like, well, my buffer's full, I need to give it a few seconds. No, it's not a concern anymore. The autofocus, the high ISO, low light performance, the shots that this gets that the D750 and D810 will not get, the viewfinder, the touch screen, the ergonomics, the output, the color saturation output is very, very reminiscent of the Nikon D4 and Nikon D700. A perfect blend of the two, at least from my conclusion, which is incredible. Love it. This is a legendary camera. I have poked Nikon in the eye time and time again when they've made stupid mistakes, but by God, this is the damn opposite of a stupid mistake. This was a real shocker. I had no idea Nikon was going to roll something out like this. And like I said, I don't suffer from new gear syndrome. Oh God, a new toy! It's got a new gadget feature, and 10 zillion autofocus. No, that crap doesn't do anything for me. You know, it's not the camera, it's the person behind the camera. But even if the person behind the camera is fine, if the camera, technologically, misses a certain percentage of shots, as in the D750 and the D810, where this got it, you know, the best photographer in the world, you know, you can give Leonardo da Vinci, you know, a crappy brush and he can still paint masterpieces, but it's not going to look as good, is it? You know, having a good tool in the right hands is important. And I know for certain that this got shots that my D750 D810 would not get. So, there it is. Nikon rolled out a Legend. It totally took me by surprise. I was not expecting that at all. And whatever you think of the Digital Rev guys, a bunch of people say, oh, come look at Digital Rev's video. They said the same thing you did, that this camera was a shocker. And I watched that segment about 5 minutes and 31 seconds in, and they kind of had the same response that I did. It's like, what the hell is this? In a good way, of course. You know, what the hell? That was really my response. I kept going, what the hell? When I was testing, I was like, wow, this is amazing. This is amazing. What? I mean, it just kept going. It wasn't one gimmicky feature. Nor was it a pile of gimmicky features. The whole package is, you know, perfect planetary alignment. Everything is lined up on this camera. Now, I can't tell you if there's going to be a recall. I'm not taking it apart. Nobody knows that. Nobody knows if you're going to get cancer tomorrow and your nuggets are going to drop off either, but that's life. So, there's no need to speculate about that part of it. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. If you like this video, drop a buck or two. Whatever makes you happy, and adios.